Invest and prototype in Moldova, a gateway to the EU digital ecosystem. Our next keynote speaker will now explore how Moldova's rise as a gateway to the EU digital market is happening. It's a place where investors, startups, and innovators can build, test, and scale cutting-edge digital solutions. So you should ask yourself right now, is Moldova on your radar? Because maybe it's not, and that needs to change. The next session will really give you now a review into the intersection of public leadership and digital transformation. And representing this ambition is no one else than the Ministry of Economic Development and Digitalization of Moldova. And with us today is Her Excellency Doina Nistor, who's also the Deputy Prime Minister of the country. So please give a warm welcome, Doina Nistor. Welcome, Your Excellency. Thank you so much for being with us today. Great to have you. Thank you.
All right, good morning. Good morning, Moldova. Well, first of all, let me give a shout out to our startups, who you can find in hall number 7. And especially a big shout out to Fagura, who is a Supernova semi-finalist. Let's give them a round of applause. You know, I was walking through the stalls and I actually found a very good partnership for Moldova. I stopped by the stand of our friends from Latvia. And what I found there is a very exciting startup that does non-alcoholic wine. And you know that Moldova, we do have some of the highest density of vineyards per hectare of agricultural land in the world. So we're a huge wine producer, but then the question is how to innovate this industry, how to cater to the new era of innovation, to the new users, to the new lifestyle. And I was so excited to find this startup L Blend from Latvia who's innovating, and they're preserving all of the organic compounds of wine, all of the health benefits, but without the alcohol. So I invited them to come to Moldova and test it out. I think in the world that we're living right now, the world of innovation, the world of fast-paced change, it's where technology changes by the hour, by the minute. What is the role of frontier markets? What is the role of smaller countries like Moldova? I think today the winners are the countries that are super agile, are the countries that let us test the technology, that are a test bed, that are a pilot for what technology is about to impact the humans of today. And I think that, you know, the next big story and the next big chapters of technology is not necessarily coming from the big economies, but coming from smaller countries that will allow to test the technology, to become a test bed. And from smaller countries where the governments are open, are agile, and are flexible, like the government of Moldova. And I want to start with the basics. If you don't know the capital of Moldova, because they asked me, how do you pronounce my name? So my name is Doina. It's a purely Moldovan name. Our capital is Chisinau. If you don't know how to pronounce it, you remember Kiss Me Now. So Chisinau, Kiss Me Now is a great way to remember how to pronounce, and you will sound like a native when you come to Moldova. But I want to tell you that Moldova has one of the fastest growing tech sectors in Eastern Europe. We have over 2,500 companies that call Moldova Innovation Technology Park their home. And together they contribute to 5% of our GDP, and they're scaling across Europe and beyond. And what makes Moldova Innovation Technology Park different? It is actually a virtual park. It's the first e-park in Europe. We do have a single tax of 7%. I know that there is good taxes here, but in Moldova, the 7% flat tax is a single tax that encompasses all other 9 taxes. And we made it very, very simple and easy. It is not only the lowest tax in the region, but it's also the simplest one in the region. So which means that if we are rolling 9 different taxes into one, You don't need to spend your nights filling out forms. You can spend them shipping products. And this is the whole philosophy of the Moldovan tech ecosystem. We are simple, we are fast, we are predictable, because early stage companies don't need the red tape. And you know, this is a big, big task to simplify the business environment. They need a room to run, and this is possible in Moldova. Second, Moldova is a EU candidate country, and this makes us the bridge to the EU market. And when you're building in Moldova, you're not building in isolation. You're building inside the EU single market and the single digital market. And this is a playground for over 450 million consumers. And this is where the startup speed and founder-friendly costs. And I'd like to say that we're the fast lane into Europe. I mean, but with the same traffic rules, because we are transposing all of the so-called acquis, which means you build in Moldova, you're using European EU standards. And once you're in, your product, your data, your contracts, they're all compliant and ready to scale across the European Union. Third, what does it mean, a sandbox advantage in a smaller country like Moldova? So I want to talk about something less glamorous than wine. I want to talk about things that are just as crucial, about energy. For decades, Moldova imported nearly all of its gas, oil, and electricity. Much of it came from a Russia-backed plant in Transnistria that was supplied by subsidized gas and with plenty of political strings attached. Energy wasn't just a commodity, it was a leverage, it was a political leverage. And that era is ending. We are now connected to the European grids, building new interconnectors through Romania and Ukraine, and expanding renewables at record speed. We have expanded renewables by 8 times in the recent 2 years, by 8 times. By 2030, we want to be 30% renewables. But infrastructure is not alone the energy infrastructure that we're building. We also want to be at the forefront of energy innovation. And this is where a new law on energy sandbox was adopted last year. It's quite unique in the region. What does it mean? It means that this is a playground for clean technology in energy. It lets startups and innovators pilot solutions like solar microgrids, large-scale batteries, AI-driven demand management, or hydrogen storage, and all in real-world conditions without the usual regulatory friction. And it's already happening because we had adopted 2 pilots already last month. One is in large-scale battery storage with distributed solar, and another using AI for real-time grid balancing. And this is just the beginning. And I want to tell you, if you start early in an underserved, in an emerging market, for example in energy, like in Moldova, you can be at the forefront of technology because it lets you pilot all of the newer technology. Now, I want to talk a little bit about deep tech. Like the L blend, that the non-alcoholic wine that we just talked about before. Because we are not stopping at infrastructure, Moldova is going deep into deep technology. Last week, because we are plugging not only into the European market, we are also plugging into the European technology scene. So last week, Moldova joined the Euro HPC. This is the European Union High Performance Computing Joint Undertaking. And this means that we are plugging and we are connecting our researchers and startups to Europe's supercomputing network. And what we are building more is an AI factory antenna that we'll be developing in the next couple of months, and that will give the founders access to compute power, shared data spaces, and collaboration with the EU AI labs. And then, of course, We want to move from outsourcing, which is typical in Moldova, and that's growing really fast, to product creation. Moldova's tech story used to be only about outsourcing, and now it's about ownership and empowering founders and products, like the Fagura fintech that just won the Supernova semifinalist. And to kind of speed that up, we've just approved a new innovation fund, and we're seeding it with the first 2 million euro. What does it mean? It means that in Moldova, you can pilot and test new ideas together with the government in an open data environment. Because we are at the forefront of digitalization of our government, we are one of the most advanced in the region. And we want you guys to come in and pilot those solutions, because one of the verticals in our innovation fund is GovTech. Another vertical is healthcare technology. We've just announced a new Moldova high-tech park on 50 hectares where we want to build private hospitals at the forefront of technology and to pilot new technology. 2 of the Moldovan startups are already interested. One is that is doing non-invasive surgery. They have really breakthrough innovations because healthcare is one of the hottest thing that's in around the world and also around the VCs, but also agriculture, because Moldova is a big agricultural producer, and we want to be at the forefront of everything that's connected with agri-tech and food tech. That's why we also launched a new agri-tech park. And this is where we want to attract the deep technology, sort of going at the newer end of innovation. In addition to that, because the founders have really hard time raising for their MVPs. If you come and build your MVP in Moldova, we've also announced a new fund of funds, because we want to de-risk together with the equity investors and together with the venture capital builders. And we will be offering the first loss capital and co-investment. And that's why my message is really simple. We invest with you and not after you. And if you succeed, we'll proudly say that we knew it before you were cool. Cybersecurity, the innovation under fire. This is another reason why testing in Moldova really matters. It's about resilience. We are at the front line of one of the most aggressive hybrid wars in Europe. Cyber attack on our government, on our infrastructure, on our democracy happens daily. We recently had the elections in Moldova. Did you know that the cyber attacks were 50% higher in the Moldovan elections than in the German elections? So this is really a hybrid war that is happening, and we are still standing stronger like every time, because our elections are a big pro-European win and are a testament of democracy, and we've really given a lesson to everyone in Europe and to everyone around the world. But this means that you can build here in Moldova, and we are building for security under pressure. And if your solution survives in Moldova, it will thrive anywhere in the world. Now, the last point that I want to make is that we cannot innovate in isolation. We do have these trends of protectionism, of nationalism, but in technology and in innovation, it's not about isolation. It's about cooperation and innovation without borders, and innovating together. So in Moldova, we're changing the approach to talent. We're changing that approach that talent connects to opportunity. We have a new digital nomad visa that will welcome you and will welcome builders from anywhere to live, work, and grow from Moldova, but fully plugged into Europe and into European Union. Second, starting with 2026, we have a new freelancers law, and that's also really unique in the region, because we learned from the 7% single tax for the tech industry, and we've proposed a 15 single tax for freelancers that also includes social and medical insurance. And we hope that this is really gonna unlock the gig economy in Moldova, and this is really gonna create multi-dimensional and international teams where Moldova can be a country of choice, a country where you can innovate together with Moldovans together with your friends from Europe, and together with your friends from around the world. So just to wrap up, if you're an investor, if you're a founder, if you're a corporate founder, come to Moldova, because Moldova is known as one of the friendliest countries, and we are building one of the friendliest states in the region. Because when you're investing in Moldova, you're not just entering a market, but you're plugging really into an entire digital and energy ecosystem that's designed to speed, scale, and impact. And if it haven't convinced you, I hope that by the time you come to Moldova, you'll be able to test some of the finest Moldovan wines that have been one of the most awarded in the world. Did you know that the Moldovan red wine was declared the best red wine in the world? I can tell you the brand after in the break, but I also hope that you can test the non-alcoholic wine, which I hope to be attracting to Moldova and to pilot very soon. Welcome to Moldova. Thank you.